All right. Well, thank you, Dee Dee. As Dee Dee mentioned, my name is Scott Uselis. I'm the data manager in the Office of Career and Technical Education, and we're going to talk about some dual credit issues, some dual credit data entry setup. We run this session pretty much every KSIS training session because we do have a lot of new folks, and it's never bad to hear this information again if you've heard it, and we try to supplement it with new information as it becomes available. Okay, so again, why a session on dual credit data entry? Although, again, we do have a data standard, we have the dual credit course data standard, has been around for quite some time to assist with this. We still do find multiple errors in the data. And sometimes it's just maybe new folks not knowing, so it's always good to go over this. So why is this important? And accuracy regarding this data is extremely important as it's used for multiple purposes. KIA utilizes this data around, work ready, dual credit scholarships, CPE, the NCAA for your athletes in your school. It's extremely important to make sure this data is correct. Public data systems, and finally, school report card and accountability purposes. We're going to go through some of that as well. Did want to put the link to the dual credit data standard in there. Of course, you can't click that right now, but that is the link that would take you directly to the standard. Again, it's a detailed setup of all data elements for dual credit courses. It's your basis for determining those errors. This was changed fairly significantly. I like to kind of go through the history. During the 18-19 school year, updates have been made during the past 2 school years as changes had become necessary. If you were to click into that link, at the very top of the link, you would see the full revision history of all the changes that have been made that are pertinent to dual credit. Okay, so kind of how to set up a new dual credit course. For counselors and folks like that on here, this is old hat to you guys, but I did want to go through exactly how to set up a course, which elements are important, etc. So, just a screenshot here of your scheduling screen. The way you get to this, of course, would be in Infinite Campus from scheduling and add course. We're going to go over, I'm going to go over 8 to 9 different data elements you're going to want to make sure are correct on here. So the first one I like to go over is the naming convention, is the name at the top, the name of the course. This is important. There's a very prescribed way to enter this naming convention. So it's alpha, 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 space, numeric, 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 numeric for the first 9 digits. In this case, I know it's very small on the screen, but this case is CIT 105. The way you would put that in there would be alpha, 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 space, space, numeric, 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 space, because it's not 9 digits long. The reason we do this is to match high school to college data for CPE purposes. CPE likes on the transcript to have the the suffix, the actual name of the course. So instead of using the high school equivalent name of the course, you'll want to use the college equivalent through whichever post-secondary institution you're going through. Secondly is difficulty level. You'll see kind of in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. You would want to toggle this obviously to DC dual credit to let folks know that this is a dual credit course. This is required for KIA, specifically for the KEYS program and for the dual credit and work ready scholarship programs. Basically, the only time you wouldn't mark this when it's a dual credit course, the only time you would leave this blank really is if this was being offered as a mixed dual credit course where you have students taking the course for dual credit and those that are not. We're going to take a look at that type of situation here in the next few slides. So I'm not going to specifically go over mixed dual credit at this point, but if you were creating a dual credit course where you had those taking it for dual credit and those not, and you're putting it in the same section, you would want to leave that blank. You would not mark it difficulty level dual credit. So that's kind of the exception. The teaching method, kind of going down the screen here, kind of again in your middle left-hand portion of the screen. You're most likely going to choose either 11 dual credit district offered, that is a dual credit course taught by a teacher employed by the district, or 12 dual credit college offered, which is a dual credit course taught by a teacher employed by the post-secondary institution with which you're partnering. Instructional setting directly below that. I'm not going to go through every single instructional setting there is, but I did want to go over the most common. So the most common ones you would most likely use are O1 on-site classroom. That's if you're offering the dual credit physically in your school building. O2 is off-site CTE. That's taught in a CTE school away from the school building. O3 off-site college is a course taught physically at the post-secondary institution. O5 online is a course taught online. And finally, O6 blended is both face-to-face and online learning. So if there was a blend of kids going to the post-secondary institution part of the time and or at your school and then partially online, you would use the blended option. Going up the screen, sorry, I know I should kind of go down, but if you go just above difficulty level is the type. You would select this if the course is performance or virtual. In this case, in this particular case you're seeing on your screen, this is a dual credit course that's college offered. It's offered off-site at the college. So therefore, the type here would be performance-based. We would mark performance for the type. Just a couple more. Bear with me a little bit, then I promise we'll move on. The attendance checkbox, kind of in the middle of your screen, in the right-hand portion of your screen. This checkbox would only be marked if a certified staff member is physically present with the students to take attendance for this course daily. This checkbox would most likely not be checked when type has a value selected. There are some special circumstances, but normally if you had performance type marked, you would not mark attendance. In this case, this is an off-site college dual credit. You're not going to have a staff member physically at the college to take attendance, so therefore you would leave the attendance checkbox blank. The DCS school near the very bottom of your screen here, this must be marked. For KIA data polls for dual credit and work ready scholarship, if the course is a dual credit course with a post-secondary institution not participating in the dual credit or work ready scholarship programs, you would choose the all zero option. It's like 8 or 9 zeros long. It's called non-participating post-secondary school. This could be if you had a dual credit offering from an out-of-state college, or perhaps it's a Kentucky institution that does not participate in the dual credit program, you would mark that again with the all zero option. The DCS school, this is important as well, must be populated even if it's a mixed course of dual credit and non-dual credit students. So like I talked about before, if you have kids that are some are taking it, some are not, same section, you still do need to mark DCS school. And then finally, last one, then we're going to move on. DCS lab indicator, the small checkbox at the very bottom. You would use only if the lab is a completely separate grade. So if you have the main dual credit course and a lab course, if the lab has a completely separate grade, you would check this lab indicator. If you check this, then a new course for the lab would need to be created. From my experience, most of the dual credit courses that have a lab, usually it's inclusive. The grade is inclusive with the main course. If that's the case, then you would leave the lab indicator blank. This is a new slide I've added for this particular training. This is a big issue I've run into for the past several months, is which course code to use. I think a lot of folks are a little confused as to which course code to use for dual credit coursework. So I wanted to just spend a minute on this. And again, if you ever have questions about this, my contact information's at the end. I'd be happy to walk through this with you. But it is important to differentiate between what we call gen ed, or quote unquote academic dual credit courses, from CTE dual credit courses. So a gen ed dual credit course, you would use one of the what we call the 8000 course codes. Some examples here: the dual credit written communications, 800011, dual credit quantitative reasoning, 800021. Those aren't the only ones, but I believe there are 8 or 9 different course codes that are somewhat kind of catch-all. These can be repeated. So if you have kids 1 year taking a math course that qualifies for quantitative reasoning, you could use the 800021 course code. If they're taking another math course that would qualify for that the following year, you could use the same course code. CTE dual credit courses are different. And I work, all disclosure, I work in OCTE, so we see this a lot. And this is where a lot of my issues come in. So these are courses that are technical in nature. So you would not use an 8000 course code for a CTE dual credit course. What you're going to use is the CTE course code in an approved career pathway that most closely aligns with the dual credit course. This can become tricky sometimes. I realize that. You're not an expert in dual credit courses like some of us are here. So please, if you have a question, please reach out to us and we can help match you with the course code. Real quick, the courses you're going to want to use if you're using a CTE dual credit course would begin with the following number structure. So they're either going to begin in 01, 02, 03, 06, 07, 08, 11, 17, 20, 21, 33, 46, 47, 48, 49, or 58. Sorry for the long list. Courses falling under those are going to be considered CTE courses. Two examples, a very common one, computer literacy. Anybody that has kids taking CIT 105, which is a super common CTE dual credit course. The most common course code you would use for that would be 110110, computer literacy. Medical terminology, another very popular course in the health sciences career pathways, 170131, etc. So if you ever have questions about, hey, do I use an 8000 course or do I use a CTE dual credit course, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you with that. Okay, now as I mentioned before, mixed dual credit course. This is where you have kids that are, some of them taking it for dual credit, some are not. So how do we set that up? So the way you'll navigate to this, we're going to use the roster batch edit tab. The way you would navigate to this is scheduling, then to courses, then to sections. You would choose your section and then choose the roster batch edit tab. So for mixed courses, you'll need to indicate which students are taking the course for dual credit in the dual credit drop-down tab under the roster batch edit tab. So you can see that on your screen, the very right-hand portion of your screen. There is a drop-down tab per student. You would pick and choose which students are taking it for dual credit, which are not taking it for dual credit. Those that are not, you would obviously leave blank. One very important note on this, you will need to manually edit the transcript for these students to indicate they did indeed take the course as a dual credit course. So on your screen here, it looks like, obviously we're not going to say who the kids are, but it looks like we had 3 kids that took this for dual credit. This is not automatically synced to transcript because remember, your difficulty level dual credit is not marked on the course. So what you would need to do for these 3 students is to manually edit those transcripts. That is an extra step, but you would just need to make sure someone is manually editing those. Okay, we get this a lot. Is the new dual credit course that you're setting up a candidate for post-secondary readiness in the accountability system or eligible for either dual credit or work ready scholarship? So we've made a little matrix here and we're just going to go through real quick. You know, the answers to those. So for a career readiness dual credit course, this is going to be one of your CTE course codes that we just discussed in an approved pathway. Is this course a candidate for post-secondary readiness under the accountability system? The answer to that would be yes, as long as the courses are in a single KDE approved secondary CTE program area. If you need more information about what that means, again, you can reach out to me. It is eligible for both. These types of courses are eligible for both dual credit scholarship and work ready scholarship. It would probably be more wise to use this toward work ready scholarship because again, you have many more opportunities for students to utilize work ready than you do for dual credit. Those meeting academic ready dual credit courses or gen ed dual credit courses. Obviously, like I said, we would use the 8000 dual credit state course code that matches the gen ed category. Is this course a candidate for post-secondary readiness? The answer to that would be yes. as long as it meets the requirements in, you know, for the post-secondary institution to meet that type of course, then yes, it does count toward post-secondary readiness. As for can you use this for a scholarship? These types of courses may utilize dual credit scholarship, but not work ready. Work ready scholarships are solely for technical based courses, so your CTE type courses. And then finally, you have some that don't fit into either bucket there. They're a course that neither qualifies for career or gen ed readiness. You would use the state course code that most closely aligns to the content of the course. Believe it or not, this is a real situation we've had in the past. We had a student taking a dual credit swimming course. Never would have guessed that, but we did. Obviously, that does not really count toward career readiness or academic readiness. That is not a candidate for post-secondary readiness. It would not count toward accountability. You could utilize a dual credit scholarship for that, although probably wouldn't be the wisest thing. Technically, yes, you can use that toward dual credit scholarship. So just hopefully that's a little helpful for you. We're going to go over some reports here that are related to dual credit coursework that can be helpful for you to run on your end. First one we're going to look at is the dual credit scholarship report. So the way to navigate to that, Kentucky State Reporting, KDE Reports, dual credit scholarship. This report facilitates the submission of the dual credit scholarship and work ready scholarship data to KIA. The DCS, this report will include all 11th and 12th grade students taking any dual credit courses. The work ready scholarship, the report will include 9th to 12th grade students taking CTE dual credit courses. So there's a column in that report that indicates whether the course that is being taken is CTE or not with a yes or no. Here's what it looks like when you navigate to that screen. There are 3 different reports that you can run here. The error report, you would use this to identify missing data elements for students. KIA will reject students with those missing data elements. So that missing or incorrect data must be corrected in Infinite Campus. And after those corrections are made, you would just simply run the report again. The error report should return no data. So that should come up blank. If you have no errors, it will show up absolutely blank. There will be nothing there, which is good news. Secondly, you have the validation report. You would run this report to preview what will be submitted to KIA. You would use this to identify missing students that you think should be there. So this is, you know, to identify those kids you think should be there that are not. And then finally, the submission report. You'd run this report to create the file that you're actually going to send to KIA. KIA allows those uploads throughout the year, and they do ignore previously submitted students. If you want to modify existing student information, you would want to contact KIA directly. You wouldn't do that here. And one important note, just kind of a technical note, if you were to open the submission report using Excel prior to submission, it could corrupt the required data formatting. I believe it's a CSV file. So you don't want to open it and make a lot of changes. It's not going to have the required data formatting. So you kind of just want to leave that one alone before you submit that. Moving on quickly here, the QA courses report. And it is the way you navigate to that, Kentucky State Reporting, KDE Reports, and QA courses. This report assists with quality assurance review of active advanced coursework courses with a section scheduled. So this is not just dual credit. This is going to give you quality assistance or quality assurance on any type of advanced coursework, but you can utilize it for dual credit. Here's what it looks like. This report, again, will help pinpoint common errors. So if you were going to try to see if you have any errors in setup, you would here choose only courses with setup concerns. So you would toggle that second radio button under select report and select type of courses. For this purpose, we would select the second radio button here, dual credit. That would give you the QA reports only for dual credit coursework. Next is A advanced coursework. And the way we navigate to that is Kentucky State Reporting, KDE Reports, A advanced coursework. This report produces aggregated opportunity and access information for advanced coursework courses and supporting student level detail. And just real quick, there are 2 reports you can run, the detail and aggregate. In the detail, excuse me, The detail report you would run to find student level information regarding students enrolled in advanced coursework. This would include demographic information. In the aggregate report, you would run that to find unduplicated aggregated student counts for those enrolled in advanced coursework. This is going to show the percentage of each student group participating in advanced coursework. And the final report that I've decided to show you is advanced courses and exams. And the way you would navigate to this, Kentucky State Reporting, KDE Reports, and Advanced Courses and Exams. This report provides aggregated and detailed data for students taking advanced coursework. The way it's different from the other reports, this data includes the number of students taking a course and completing a course. So it's going to tell you whether or not they completed it. For AP, International Baccalaureate, and CAI courses, it's going to include the number of students taking the corresponding exam and receiving a qualifying score on the exam. So it's going to tell you how many took it, how many got the qualifying score. For dual credit courses, which is what we're talking about today, it's going to include the number of students with a qualifying score, which in this case, of course, there's not an exam for dual credit. It's going to track whether the student earned a qualifying grade in the course, which is a C or above. Here's what it looks like. Okay, you got the detail and aggregate report. So for the detail report, in regard to dual credit, this report contains similar information to the detail report in the previous report we showed you, advanced coursework. But in addition, this report also provides whether the student completed the course and the grade achieved in the course. That's if the student completed the course. Secondly, finally, the aggregate report. So in regard to dual credit, this report contains the unique number of students taking one or more dual credit courses, the count of students completing one or more dual credit courses, and the count of students passing one or more dual credit courses with a qualifying score, which again is a C or above. The percentages are calculated for each category, and this does include data by demographic groups. No, that's a lot of information. I know I spoke most of the time. This is my contact information. I think we do have a few questions, but I'd be happy to answer those now. But if we don't have time or we have to move on to the next session, here is my contact info. Please feel free to reach out to me at that email or phone number. So thank you very much.
Scott, it's Dee Dee. I think we got a few minutes and we do have a couple questions. One thing I just want to add, and you may have said it and I missed it, but just if you're going to any of these locations that Scott's pointed out for reports and you're not seeing those reports, check with your system administrator. They do have to give you access to see those reports. They're not just pushed out there.
That's a great point. Great point. I know I work with people and sometimes they don't have that access. Yes. Very good. Very good point.
So, one of the questions I got was, what was the first report called you showed us just now? So if you want to backwards, you can just show that quick ball.
It was, the DCS report. Dual credit scholarship. Again, that's created when you're sending that file to KIA for those kids that are utilizing dual credit scholarship or work ready scholarship.
Okay, great. And then we have a question that I think I gave you this one earlier, and it's kind of risen to the top. So I think there's a lot of interest in this. We are on trimesters. So students take part A, trimester 1, and part B, trimester 2 or 3. Do we need to look at changing this? And are you just recommending semesters for this year? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a little tricky. So I'm guessing if they're taking over both trimesters, so they're taking I guess I would need a little more information on that. If they're taking like half of the course during trimester 1 and the other half during trimester 2 or 3, I would probably need a little more information on that. But of course, the college is going to be on the semester offering this. But I know there are circumstances where we have kids that are taking a dual credit. Technically, it's spread out throughout the year. I would recommend having it mirror with how the college is offering it. But whoever sent that, I'd be happy to talk with you further on that.
Right, that's what I was going to mention. You are, you've been willing. You've said already that you're more than willing to help people work through individual scenarios. So I think that will be probably the way to handle this one. We have one more, if we can answer pretty quickly. What if none of the 8,000 courses match the course being offered, such as the health or physical education tied to Morehead State University, with our staff teaching the courses?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good question. There are several that kind of fall through those cracks. It really depends. You need to work with that post-secondary institution to see what kind of credit they're going to give you. And again, if you're going to use one of those 8,000 course codes, you really do need to verify with that post-secondary institution that it does match the student learning outcomes for that type of course. Yeah, a health or a PE type course is tricky. It may kind of fall in that category where it doesn't really qualify for CTE or Gen Ed. Again, I'd be. It's really hard without looking at it in front of me, but I hate to keep saying just reach out to me, but I'd be happy to talk about that one with you as well.
All right, great.